Live with Adam Post and Billy Tucci. Billy, it is great to have you. Thanks for making time to connect tonight. Man, we know each other a while, and thank God we're making comics again.
Heck yeah, brother. Heck yeah. It's a glorious time to be self-publishing.
Better than ever.
Better than ever. So yeah, I'm sitting there working, and as we were saying, sorry we're a little late. It's my fault. I'm looking at it, and I'm wondering if I could. Maybe I should.
Billy's contemplating. He's
add
contemplating
another page to this comic because I did all before we launched the campaign on Indiegogo 7 weeks ago. I had all 52 pages of my art done, but as we're putting it together, the colors are coming in. It's looking great. I'm like, I think I could add to that. Let me add another page to that. Let me add another page, and now we're coming on. The book was originally, Haikyo, my new book, was originally supposed to be 48 pages of story and art, like Return of the Warrior. So right now it's 57 pages, but I'm looking at it. So I added another page.
Nice.
I added 55. I'm kind of adding pages in, and I'm like, you know what?
That's what all the great people do, Billy. All the great creators, they do add an extra page or two. They're like, you know what? I need to tell my story. I need to really make my impact. Man, that's what everybody does.
I think I can add another damn page. I think I should. So this will end up being, right now it's 57 pages of story and art. And I'm looking at that. Maybe I should make it 58 pages of story and art. Then again, I could just be done with it because the book's supposed to go to the printer next week.
Oh, really?
Me adding another page, you know how that goes. That's going to add another week to it, which is all right. So
I do like to tell people, you got to keep in mind it's not done until it's done.
I know.
And I'm in a similar phase with the Mermaids now, where JJ Jackson.
Yeah.
She does all my production design and stuff. She designed that Mermaids logo that you like.
Mm-hmm.
And she was telling me, Adam, I used to be a cartographer. I could do an amazing map for you for all the different areas in the Mermaids under the sea. There's 5 main different areas. She's like, that would really help drive the story and help everybody understand where everything is at. And I'm like, how do you say no to that?
Yeah,
I got till April 20. I promised April 2021. So, I'm not going to ship in April. I'll probably ship in February if all goes perfectly. But yeah, we're going to keep adding more and more stuff to it because this is our chance, to really impress people when they get the books. So
yeah,
why the heck wouldn't we?
Absolutely.
I'm all for adding stuff as long as it can still be connected. Hey,
yes, I'm drawing right now. So that's what I'm doing right now is I'm drawing, and I'm wondering if I should. I think it. Let me go look at the script real quick.
My normal answer to that question would be take 4 pages out and put it into the next book. This way you're ahead of the game.
Oh no, this is this.
But you can't. That's impossiable. So you do what's right for the story. That's always the best.
And I think I can fit it in. I think I can do it.
You can make it happen.
Let me see. Panel 1. Let me look at panel 1. 1, 2, 3. Okay, so there's only 2 guys talking. Panel 1's good. Panel 3 is good. I think we should just. We'll see. I'm not quite sure. I can't.
All right, so it's up in the air. We could take a vote.
It's up in the air.
But the vote's not going to make all the difference. So it's a little bit up in the air. But what's not up in the air is Haikyo has done really well. So the first book did well. And the way you offered it first was, did you do that one simultaneous?
Yes, I did a simultaneous launch. And we did on Kickstarter and Indiegogo. Personally, I prefer one platform to another.
Yeah,
which we launched exclusively first here. But, as they say, happy wife, happy life. And my wife says, we had over 1,000 backers on the other platform. And so we let this campaign ran for 30 days or more than 30 days, actually. It ran because it was a 25-day campaign, went into demand. And then I'd say 2 weeks later, it went into the we launched Kickstarter. And as an exclusive with an exclusive Kickstarter cover, and the Indiegogo, of course, has an Indiegogo exclusive cover as well. And it's kicking ass. We're almost at 500 backers now in 2 weeks on the Indiegogo campaign, and it's over $27,000, coming on $28,000, and it's almost like.
Yeah, I'm pulling up the Kickstarter part too.
That's a Kickstarter part, yeah. And it's like, why? Yeah, okay, 27,338. So we're well on our way to 28. With 10 days left. So it's like, why not go with, because I have learned that there are people that just buy exclusively on Indiegogo. There are people that buy exclusively on Kickstarter.
But you found that out too, because like, don't customers, like when you announce the campaign, they're going to say, some of them are going to say, I want to wait. I want to buy it on Kickstarter. They do have preferred platforms. Some
They
people
do, yeah, and it's either it could be for reasons that we know, like it could be political reasons. Someone doesn't like certain things that there was a lot of that gatekeeping thing before they got rid of that woman that was on Kickstarter,
right?
And rightly so, people were upset. They were censoring people, and but it seems to be a whole new mentality over there. We've been in touch with a rep there. She's fantastic. Very excited about having she is a part of it, to do that exclusive edition with it, the exclusive cover. And it seems like a whole new culture over there.
It's a good dynamic.
Yeah, I think they see it as something with they see it as hey, why cause division when there doesn't need to be any division?
They need to make money too, and they have
and that's what it is, because that's what it's about. It's about MCM making cash money, and it's business. I mean, let's be honest. No joking aside, it's business. It's a business model. So there are certain people that just shop at Walmart. There are certain people that just shop at Kmart. There are certain people that just shop at Target. Why would we want your product in all of those stores?
Well, it's also, I think, backing these sometimes, because there are people that go browse, a lot of the purchase of these can be an impulse item. Yeah. You got people buying on impulse on Indiegogo, you have them buying on impulse on a Kickstarter, or someone who bought. So you also did this thing too, where you split the baby, where you, it's my King Solomon reference, where you were on Kickstarter. So, it's different than someone who's launching a project. And if they're Comicsgate, particularly if they're focused Comicsgate, we don't even like to share Kickstarter links, and you're not putting out Kickstarter links. I'm not seeing them on from your social media. I see links and stuff like that, but
happy wife, happy life.
Yeah. So, but yeah, I mean, if people bought the previous book, then it's like, well, they're expecting to be able to buy the next book, and you're going to get into this whole explanation about why, it's not available, especially if you can hold them over a barrel a little bit at Kickstarter and just say, listen, I did so much better. Why am I doing so much better on Indiegogo than Kickstarter? You gotta do what you can to help get these numbers up.
Right. And but then when it comes to business too, is that I can't deny we did over $70,000 on Return of the Warrior on Kickstarter. With almost 1,000, with over 1,000 backers. So how could we say no to that?
Well, the other thing too is it's not just selling one book. It's because we get a lot of reorders, especially if you have the same title or a sequel. Mm-hmm. It's your commitment to the series. And this is a thing too. Not everybody is going to produce sequels or whatever their books are, but if it's a success, if you launch a title and it's a success, you do good enough numbers, you cover your costs, you make some profit. It does make sense to do a sequel for any title, but also, when people are buying these books, especially if they're buying them in anticipation of a sequel, you want to be able to deliver to them the next book.
Absolutely. And this book is a sequel. We ended with a cliffhanger ending.
Yeah, you got to deliver on a cliffhanger.
So you have to, and again, the person at Kickstarter is amazing. They made it a project we love.
Yeah,
which I've never had anything like that. So it was very encouraging.
Nice.
And again, I'm also the kind of person, and me for a long time. I really have time for garbage like that. I don't get involved in any of.
You're not a drama guy. You're
not at all.
You're a family man. You're an artist. You're a creator, and you're a bridge builder.
Yeah, and it is, and again, look at that. The film, the Ghost in the Darkness. That he wants to build bridges. The Val Kilmer character, if you ever seen it, and bridges, bring worlds together, and that's sort of how
I appreciate you coming on tonight, and I'll tell you what I've been doing. I did the Mermaids book, and it's doing better than College of the Dead book 1 now, but not as good as College of the Dead book 2 so far. And the thing of it is that's publishing. You put a book out, it hits. It's the mid range. It's not the biggest. It's not the small. Whatever. I'm interested in producing more books, but I love the comics community. I love talking to these other creators. I admire everybody's got. There's so much going on right now, and Ethan's there at the top. Leading the way, bringing people into Comicsgate, getting people excited. and producing the content he's producing, but also bringing in people like you and getting you more like able to do what you need to do and supporting you, but also like Shane and Frega and Patrick Parnell and Graham Nolan and more talent coming, more great people, Rocafort coming in.
Yep.
But so many smaller guys as well that, you know, they can produce their comic. They can make a good comic, you know, for a $20,000 campaign or a $10,000 campaign, a $5,000 campaign. Even some guys can get their book out and get it done. But in some $30,000 campaigns, and you just see like, you know, all the energy, all the commitment. I just love being around these guys. And then also you learn from people too.
Yes,
you know, give people tips here and there. Have you learned a lot, like kind of being around other guys now?
Oh, absolutely. Especially the cool thing is you learn, you know, I was on Ethan's show yesterday, and he's going to give me like some of the cool things, like the lanyard he's doing and stuff. Yeah, I learned a lot about perks. I also learned a lot, and you know, that to charge shipping for domestic,
you got to charge shipping.
We got destroyed on She Return of the Warrior. Our shipping costs were over $22,000 or something. That's just post office. That's not supply. That's
and not labor, because, you know,
not labor, none of that stuff. So it was like, oh, okay. But and you know, Ethan's like, you got to charge for shipping. You got to charge for shipping. Hey, what's up? Oh, thank you so much. Thank you.
Yeah, did a review of She Return of the Warrior on your channel. One of the best IGG books ever backed. Very cool.
Even better. I'd love to check out that review, and thank you. I'm honored. Thank you so much.
Very cool.
The Haikyo book's even better. This book is hands down the best She comic we've ever done. And thank you. And but it's, as getting back to what you were saying about all different people, you know, different, like, again, we've been doing this a long time, Adam. You know, and I've been doing, and even for me, that I feel myself, and Polito too, Brian Polito, we feel ourselves outlaws, but we really were accepted by the mainstream comics, whether they liked it or not. The fans accepted us, and we became mainstream immediately because we started selling all DC and Marvel books. With, you know, knock on wood, you know, thank God, success of She, we hit it at the right time, at the right moment, when the industry needed a good kick in the pants. The Image. You know, Image was still going strong, but the boom had kind of subsided, and retailers were looking for something, and something to give the industry a kickstart. And we came in, and I guess because it was so fresh and new, that people really responded to that. So I guess in a way, even though I've been fiercely independent, and I did do a lot of stuff with DC Comics, I did Heroes for Hire for Marvel. That's it. But I did do a lot of work for DC Comics, and I love those characters, and it was fun. And I did also, but I needed a break, because when you do the same character for 10 years, that's all you do. Yeah. I do need a little break, you know, and, but
10 years is a long time.
Yeah. Yeah. And then I got a chance to draw and write these characters that I've loved since I was a kid. And it was fun, but it also gets very frustrating. And, you know, and you've heard that many times. Was it Kirby saying, you know, comics will break your heart? And Darwin had told me, he said, you know, Marvel and DC, he said, they'll break your heart.
Darwin Cook, right?
Yep, because you'll come up with these great stories, great. You know, I have so many of our friends. You got to hear some of Ethan's stories that he had, pitches he had of books that would have been tremendous that for one reason or another just never came, you know, to pass. And you're like, what the hell were they thinking? And you get invested in these characters because, you know, that you love them. So, all right, Sergeant Rock, I got the next.
Spend so much time with them.
Yeah, you do. And I've got a story for Jade. I love Jade, one of the Green Lanterns. Jenny Lynn Hayden, who is, you know, Alan Scott's daughter. And I think she has the potential to be the most powerful Green Lantern in the universe. And I had this great story. And for one reason, people liked it. It got to, for one reason or another, someone else is using her for something or whatever. And then it gets crushed. And it's just like, oh. And then you realize, though, you know what? These characters aren't mine. You know, that these characters aren't yours. These characters are Marvel and DC's books.
Yeah, the more you care about it, the less it matters.
Yeah, exactly. And that's when you have these creators who say, you don't like my politics? Don't buy my books. Right? But it's not your books. It's DC and Marvel's books. You could say that when you're self-publishing your own comic, and that's fine. If someone feels that they have to interject their politics into every tweet they make or everything that's all they talk about. You know, get a life. Jeez.
Yeah.
You know?
Billy, can I ask you like a she world question? So here's my she world question is
yes. 1,000 times yes, Adam.
Okay, so the world that she is in, what is that story world? Like if you were to separate she from it, is this a world that we could put this isn't a pitch, by the way, just getting behind the property. Like could we put a new character in there? Is it a rich enough world? Like the Marvel universe was this world of superheroes with all this intergalactic stuff going on and these super villains. The world of she without she, how would you describe the world that she occupies without talking about her?
Absolutely. Yeah. It's just, you know, there's no Earth 1, 2, 3. It's like, it's here today. We don't talk about COVID
present day
in it. Yeah. In the present, it's not like a COVID epidemic, you know, because I'm like, well, that's a little.
Real heroes wear masks, Billy.
What?
Real heroes wear masks.
No, my character's not a hero. She's an anti-hero.
I love anti-heroes. So she's never wearing a mask.
Nah, she wears face paint. So, but it's still, that's not COVID friendly though. That won't protect you. Yeah, so we just ignore, because COVID 5 years from now, you know, how many comics are going to be out there, people wearing masks?
Right. Define the difference for me from your Billy point of view, if you're comfortable. Hero, anti-hero, villain. Now, there are villains in she's universe, in she's world, right? What makes her an anti-hero but not a villain?
Well, the thing with she is that, you know, in the beginning she killed people. She did. She hasn't killed anyone in a long, long time, and people like, wow, she kills people. She's basically she is a modern day samurai story, and the character and the story is that Anna Ishikawa is a soldier that's been drafted into this shadow war that's existed for 500 years.
Okay, just as a quick aside, when I meant story world, I think that's what I meant, is like she's drafted as a soldier into a shadow war. Yes. The shadow war is going on between and
yes. So the shadow war is deeply rooted in Japanese society. You have Anna belongs to a sect called the Kyoto Sohai. And the Kyoto Sohai were the warrior monks of medieval Japan. The greatest warriors of medieval Japan, and they fought with naginatas. If you see that weapon that Anna uses, she wears it. You know, you can see all these. It's a pole-like weapon with a sword-like blade on it. They are the descendants of the Kyoto monks of the Great Temple of Enryaku, and that was in Kyoto. Now, Kyoto was at one point the capital of Japan.
Yeah.
Preceding Kyoto being the capital of Japan was Nara, another city, which is not far away. There's another sect of warrior monks from Nara. And then they do battle with descendants of the samurai, with descendants of the and the Yakuza plays a part in it as well. And it's this war that now takes place not on the plains of, you know, in the shadow of Mount Fuji, but rather in boardrooms and in the arts and in business and in entertainment and things like that. So it's this shadow war that goes along, and there are people that kill each other, they fight, and but it's fun. I try to make it a mystery behind it, but we also play. We hedge really deeply into Japanese mythology with the warrior monks. I'm sorry, I explained the warrior monks, who really weren't monks at all. They were really samurai, just ordained as monks. They had families, things like that.
They didn't live together.
They did live together. No, they lived in a temple, but they had families. The temples were like fortresses, actually. Okay. So cities, really. The whole city was almost like a temple. They had several temples within these cities.
Really, we need to make one of those.
I know. I have Freedom Land. We're already looking in South Carolina.
Okay.
About 50 great families. We buy about, 500 acres of land.
I'm in.
And we have Freedom Land. We get our own flag.
I'm in.
With a tree. Get the posts will be there, of course.
Absolutely.
I got people chomping at the bit to join Freedom Land. And but we need a bowling alley, Adam. We need a bowling alley. We need a good a bagel place.
Yeah, pizza.
pizza parlor, and this could all be all in the bowling alley. But we need. I don't know if you got any friends that own bagel stores that want to get out of New York. We need them.
We could probably crowdfund it.
We'll ship our water in from New York.
You know what? We actually might be able to crowdfund it. Certainly, if Ethan's in for it, we could crowdfund it.
I think we could, because we live in the highest tax state in the friggin' country.
New York, yeah, they're raising it.
It's disgusting.
All right, of course I don't want to take it too far off the track, but it did sound really, really great to be in like this group of this monk city. Did sound pretty appealing. I gotta admit.
Yep. And Anna is a product of it. She is a member of the Kyoto sect. And this battle is now.
But she's drafted. How did she come to be drafted?
By basically her grandfather saying your father and your brother were murdered by the rival sect, and now you're going to be trained as a warrior, and this is your birthright to be a part of this. As your father was before you, as I was as her grandfather, as.
She had no idea this stuff was going on.
No idea. No idea at all. But she was raised in it.
Okay. Did she have other plans? Was she going to marry somebody or go?
Well, the thing is, in the comics, she did get married. She married the police officer who was investigating the She killings of 25 years ago, Denise. But if you follow any of the Crusade comics of the 90s and into the 2000s, Pete became a vigilante himself. He was wronged by by a corrupt police department. He became a vigilante. But as they say, crime does not pay, my friend, and he got pinched. So he's in. So
vigilante, isn't it vigilante in the anti-hero category for you?
He is.
I've been kind of looking at this like hero, anti-hero, villain. A hero. What would an anti-hero do that a hero wouldn't do? And an anti-hero, they're vigilantes essentially to you, aren't they?
Yeah, pretty much. And now
Punisher, you think anti-hero, boom, Punisher. That's I think Punisher, number one, Punisher.
Yeah, well, see, in my world, it's not all that black and white, and I'm a very black and white person, but it's not all black and white. It's
you're a black and white full color person.
Thank you, black and white full color. I'm all spectrums of the. I'm like Wizard of Oz.
Yeah,
right.
The wizard.
Black and white scene. We go to. Color,
I was the wizard in Miss Kazaz's class in 3rd grade. I was the Wizard of Oz, and it was awesome. My grandfather was a tailor, or he had like a clothing company, maybe this awesome purple robe, and it doesn't fit me anymore, but it was really, really cool.
Now
I am the wizard, but anti-hero hero. I'm curious to see what you think, because I'm doing a lot of writing now, and I'm doing a lot of, so what's the difference between an anti-hero and a hero? So she's an anti-hero.
Well, she's probably a hero now, though.
Interesting.
I'd say she's a hero.
We have to think about this, because here's my take, and then you tell me what your take is. First of all, anti-hero, it's easy to reference the Punisher. And if anybody disagrees or has any comments about this, feel free to put them in the chat, because this is stuff we have to think about.
Yes.
Because characters can't just do effing anything. They have to be true to their character with what it is that they do.
Yes.
Now, for example, Punisher, what is he doing? He's looking for revenge. That does not make him an anti-hero, that he wants revenge. What makes him an anti-hero is the way he gets revenge. He goes and he murders anybody he thinks is a bad guy.
Right.
And by murdering it's breaking the rules. Now, when your neighborhood Spider-Man comes along and says, hey, you guys over there, you're trying to rob somebody. I'm going to put you in webbing, and I'm going to hang you from a lamppost. How do you like that? Ha, ha, ha. That's still breaking the rules, but it's not like murdering people.
Yes, exactly,
for revenge.
Exactly.
Right? But he's a hero. But as long as he doesn't break the law, you could do a citizen's arrest. You can't break people's arms for no reason and things like that. So that's a hero, right? And then the hero is also the aspirational hero, where it's like, I'm setting an example. I'm telling you that if you read Spider-Man, or you give Spider-Man to your kids, and your kids look up to Spider-Man and try to replicate that behavior, it's good. You're good to go. Like I remember in the 1980s, it was a big push for them to do a book like The Punisher, because they wouldn't want to do an anti-hero as one of their comics, because their comics are supposed to be heroes.
Right.
So so are you with that, Billy? Like an anti-hero is willing to break the rules for their own purposes, but also for good purposes, to protect someone. You know, somebody
I
might
agree with
trick
that. I
you.
agree with that. Yeah.
Now, a villain.
Rules, maybe not necessarily. But then again, there's so many damn laws. You know,
There's a lot. No, there's a lot. There's regulations.
convoluted too.
You didn't make your quarterly filing. All of a sudden, you're a fucking anti-hero. Okay.
Yeah.
Hey, come out with your hands up, you horrible anti-hero.
Yeah, right.
At least you didn't call me a villain.
Right.
No, but there's rules and regulations, and there are probably extreme limitations on citizens' arrests, especially from jurisdiction to jurisdiction. You know, Superman's probably not legally allowed to fly around, and Iron Man didn't necessarily get all the proper licensing for his, Iron Man suit. But
that's what drove me nuts about. I gotta tell you, that's drove me nuts about. When you're done, sorry.
Yeah, no, I'm done. I actually want to hear what drove me nuts. I'll go back to Iron Man.
And how Civil War was, the
I couldn't look at anything that said war in it without thinking Shooter's Secret War, which I loved as a kid. Secret Wars.
Yeah.
And it's like, well, what else are you going to look at? He did Secret Wars 2, which was not good. And but the rest of it is like, well, now we're going to do Civil War, Secret War. It's like, all right.
Yeah, well,
I don't know.
But the Civil War sides really didn't add up. Because so I did a panel in Philadelphia. We did our civil, I did Heroes for Hire for Civil War, and we did a we had the panel, and I said, and they were talking about how here's Captain America, and Captain America is anti-registration, and he's the hero, and here's Iron Man, Tony Stark, which goes against Tony Stark's character to want to register things because he felt that the Iron Suit was his. He didn't want the government to take that away, but he felt that superheroes had to register their powers. So
who did? Iron Man thought
Iron Man, yeah, Iron Man did. So, and Captain America was against that. There's a Superhero Registration Act. So I said, okay. I said, I gotta say something. And Joe's talking and all. We had a big panel of all the creators. And I said,
Joe
Quesada. I said, I gotta ask a question. Who here in the audience is on Tony Stark's side? And there had to be 500 people in the audience. Right?
Oh, good question.
Maybe 10, 15 people, right? I said, who here is on Captain America's side? Because they saw it. So they all, because they all started turning it like the Republicans. Tony Stark's a Republican. Captain America is the liberal Democrat, that he's against the registration, all this stuff. And I said, all right, so you out there mean to tell me that someone who has the ability to kill everyone in this room right now doesn't have to register that power? Well, no, it's your right. I said, okay. Well, then how do you feel about gun control?
Oh, damn it. You said it to the
I said, how do you feel about that? And I said, I said, how does everyone, and all of a sudden it's started, I said, well, because why do you feel that someone that has an AR-15 or AK-47, don't you feel they have to register that? So what if I have the power that I could lift my eyes and my eye beams can go and kill every single one of you guys? And then, oh my God, the big hem and haw. I said, because I'm on Captain America's side. I said, because the conservatives are the ones, the libertarians are the one on Captain America's side, not the liberals and not the Democrats. You guys are for registration of everything. You are for high regulation. So I said, because you're putting your head in Captain America, and no one here is Captain America. No one here is an X-Men. No one here is any Marvel superhero. You're David Bruce Banner. You're not the Hulk. You're the people that they're supposed to be protecting from. Now, I disagree with that, but how do you guys feel about it? And of course, the whole entire thing that started talking and it totally got off the rails. It was great.
That's great though, because people should be thinking of it in those terms.
That's how you
kind of reflecting it back, because people do have different abilities. Someone like Trump is an example of someone where he's incredibly persuasive, and he can get people to follow him. And he never told people, go do this or go do that. But if he was to tell people, go do this or go do that, there are some number of thousands of people that would do that. I've seen posts where people have said, I would lay down my life and things like that. I mean, people become, so that's a skill set. So it's like, well, are we going to, if we register all of our skills with the government and we're expecting that the government is going to regulate and control our use of those skills for our own good or for the good of society? And
the good for who? Yeah. And who in the government are they for? Because you look at the thing that happened. There are 2,000 Capitol Police, right? So you had that assault by those morons on the Capitol building, of which there's only like 200 people. was only 200 of them.
Mm-hmm.
And you see them breaking. Why did the Capitol Police is ordered only by Congress?
Mm-hmm.
That's who orders the Capitol Police. They are the police force of the Congress and the Senate of the United States of America. That's their only job, is to protect them, right? Who told them to stand down and let those people in when there's 2,000 of them?
Well, I don't really know what happened there. Why did
allow it to happen? And
it did get my attention, and based on my looking into it, they were warned at the Capitol Police. They were warned in Congress. They were warned at the Senate that, look, there's all sorts of chatter about all kinds of groups making trouble that day, and they turned down all sorts of support and help.
I think they will. You know what? This is all just hearsay. So it's all.
It's all hearsay.
Kind of looks like they kind of wanted it to happen.
Yeah, it could.
And again, it was only 200 of them. You see,
it's conspiratorial, but we don't know. We don't know. But and you know where Billy and I stand is everybody in this United States of America deserve their God-given rights, and those are not rights to be given to us by government. Doesn't matter who's in power or not in power. Government works for us. We don't work for them.
That's right. And the thing
is the way it's supposed to be.
And with those people that, again, the 200 of them that broke in, they say this insurrection. And then you see them walking in with the Capitol Police and walking into the House floor with them.
Yeah, there's videos of it.
Down, the other idiot with the horns stands in Pence's chair, or
he made himself famous. He's an anti-hero. He's no good.
He's a schmuck. He's an idiot. So
not a good. So as far as registering your powers, now there is a direct example of this, and that is people like myself who are extremely deadly with martial arts.
Excellent.
Extremely deadly. I hope I haven't hurt you even by saying that. That's how deadly.
No, but I'm digging this. I'm loving this.
No, but people with martial arts are supposed to be registering, aren't they? With the local police department. That's at least people in the chat, if you know. But that's people with martial arts that are like high-level martial arts people are supposed to be registering their hands as deadly weapons. Or at least that's what they always used to say on TV.
Yeah.
So that's, I guess, the premise. But why would you do that? What are the police supposed to call you and be like, listen, we got a problem. Let's call this guy and see if he can go kick some ass and get drafted into the force. Yeah. I don't know. I mean, that's a little bit silly. But they do. You're supposed to register your hands as deadly weapons or whatever it is.
I was not aware of it. I thought that was just a movie thing and it was great in Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, which I love.
Mm.
He said,
I believe everything I see on TV.
You should. And I'm with you on that.
See, Billy says I'm adorable. So, all right. It's not necessarily true. It's just something I said. Half of what I say.
Well, remember in Once Upon a Time in Hollywood when Bruce Lee character says, my hands are registered as lethal weapon.
Yeah.
That means if we get into a fight, I accidentally kill you.
Then he's in trouble.
And he goes, anyone gets into a fight with somebody and accidentally kills them, they go to prison. It's called manslaughter.
Okay, I think that might be where it all comes from. That kind of sorts it out.
I think that might be the movie.
Unqualified says, when do you think you'll do a She omnibus? That's a great Billy question.
Good Lord. Look at this
unqualified guy.
The She omnibus. Okay, so
we have the best
right now, Haikyo, which I think I've got this worked out in 57 pages, not 58. So Haikyo will be going to press in the next 2 weeks. Then we will fulfill in February. Are we in February? No, almost. February we'll be fulfilling February and March, and at the end of March or first week in April, we launch the She Omnibus Volume Number 1, 462 pages or 464. I don't know if you got any of your mathletes out there that can decipher it by 8. It's our Volume 1. We have 5 of them planned. The Volume 1 will be the original She Way of the Warrior storyline and the Tomoe series. And I'm psyched that'll be launched that's again in March. The end of March. We'll launch at the end of March, and it's going to be awesome. It's going to be great. It's going
to be a monster book. Do you know what your price point's looking like for that yet?
Not yet. We're looking at it. Debbie's doing it now. I don't want to give the Chi-Coms any business, so I want to do it here in North America. We have the prices from API, but they're at a little higher than what we want to do it. So I just reached out to a Canadian publisher, printer. So we'll see what they give us, because I really like to do it here. Plus, it's a lot bigger, because our whole goal is we're doing 4 campaigns this year. Sorry, Scala. It's my buddy Scala.
Oh, Niall.
Scala.
Making Niall.
I'm talking to Adam Post. Say hello, Scala.
Adam,
What?
you son of a gun. How are you?
What's up, Niall?
What?
I should call him right now.
Making content for the channel, doing some editing.
Niall Scala, we got a strike on our channel because we all made fun of Wonder Woman. We said it sucked.
Oh, and you can't do that. You can't say what people's stuff.
We said we showed the trailer, but I'm seeing everybody showing the trailer. Anyway,
I'm not gonna call.
Back, all right.
I was just calling Niall.
He said he'll see you soon. Say good.
All right, Niall. Much love. We'll see. We'll talk to you soon, buddy. Yeah, Niall runs Pop XP.
Pop XP,
Billy.
our channel.
Billy's great channel.
And he is the grand poobah of that. So we got the strike. So we cannot. I don't know how long it's going to be. Maybe till tomorrow. Maybe Thursday. Maybe Friday. We got a strike for showing the Wonder Woman trailer. So
we show the whole trailer uninterrupted.
No, I thought we were talking in it, making fun of it actually the whole time.
Well, you have to stop it, I think, and talk.
We found that.
Sorry to hear that, man. Download all that. Make sure he downloads all that content, because God forbid.
I think he did, and he's just gonna reload it up without the trailer on it.
Gaming or what? TM 5 big ones. Thank you, sir. Hey Billy, I've been collecting old She comics. Would be cool to send them to you to get signed.
Yes, it would. Just if you can do me a favor, let me get done with this book. If you can do this give me January and February to fulfill this book. If you could send it in March, send me a DM on Twitter. You can, if you're on Facebook, you send me a PM on Facebook, and send a self-addressed stamped envelope, and I'd love to sign them for you.
That's fantastic. Yeah, I've done it a couple times. If people looking for G.I. Jacks episode, whatnot signed by me.
Adam,
it's a pleasure.
Adam, you and your son have to come to our little fulfillment parties. We have so much.
Oh, fun. Yeah, we will. We'll definitely be there at the next one.
And I got the American Legion Post. They're going to let us do it over there again.
Oh, fantastic!
And we ordered Italian food. We had bagels in the morning. It was great. We had a great, just so much fun, and the day went so fast.
Everybody around you is good people, and Debbie's such a nice lady too.
She's a peach.
Yeah, I would love to. So definitely in February we're doing it, right around Valentine's Day.
No, yeah, it's probably it's going to be after Valentine's Day.
Okay.
End of February.
When it comes in,
I got my buddies. I got some friends coming in. One's going to come and stay the week, and he's just going to help us all week. And again, a bunch of other friends are just wanting to help out.
Those are great days. Those are a lot of fun, and there's always something cool that happens. Is Vaughn coming too?
JC Vaughn always makes an appearance.
JC Vaughn is a good guy.
He'll definitely be there on the Saturday at least, and
it's good times.
Yeah, good times, bro. Good times.
Fun pictures and stuff too come out of that stuff.
Oh yeah, and we just laugh and we listen to Sinatra and stuff like that.
Because I think everybody gets so freaking busy with life and with everything. There's never a chance to get together. There's like not a casual Saturday or something. It's not.
Yep.
I saw you. You went out with your son over the weekend, and you had pictures out, and you're like,
share
the memory that you're going to have forever. And it is. It's like, guys, we have fun. We do comics. We laugh and stuff like that. You just also want, as much as you can, you want to just enjoy life. Remember those moments and stuff, because time does go fast, Billy.
Yes, it does.
Time does go fast. It waits for no man, not even for the Tucci.
It does not even wait for the Tucci. My son he's amazing. Now he's going to school for welding. He's he found a trade. He hated school. He was on the spectrum, Asperger's, ADHD, and but he's grown so much. And now it's unbelievable. He's so responsible, and he wants to weld, and it's incredible how hard he's worked, and that I'm so proud of him. And
he likes it.
Yep. And he's always wanted to go, hunting with us, with me, and me and my father-in-law, we go, my brother-in-laws, I've been hunting for over 20 years. and I'm addicted to it, you know. So now he wants to get his bow hunting license and all too, and I'm like, yeah, let's go. And your son asked you if he can go hunting with you, and pheasants is a lot of fun. And you know, we had some nice pheasant for dinner on Sunday night. My wife made some pheasant cutlets. Oh, unbelievable! It was so great, but it was such a you know, you just can't. The experience it's you'll never forget it. You'll never forget it, and it was so much. It was just wonderful. It really was.
It's a privilege.
It makes you cry, you know. It's
a great country. It's a great place. Great people, and you know, we'll hang on to it. We'll make it happen.
Yeah,
we'll make it happen.
I think I got a lot of friends sending me.
Yeah, there's a lot of us that are going a little bit nuts right now.
Yeah,
it's going to work out. You know, we didn't even know this stuff was going on no matter what. So we had a little bit of a detour for a couple of years.
Yeah.
So we'll see where it all shakes out. It is a little crazy to think that we probably would have been better off with Bernie Sanders winning than Biden. But you know, it's going to all get sorted out. So Billy, on the anti-hero thing, I think we have it pretty well covered. But anti-hero breaks the rules for their own benefit, which might be their pursuit of revenge, because you wouldn't consider Punisher to be a villain,
right?
They're selfish, but they also stick up for people, but they're not heroes. But what we're talking about now is like, it is much harder to be a hero now, because especially if you're going to include woke culture, because they demonize everyone except them.
Right.
And as far as they are concerned, if you're not demonizing people the same way that they are, if you're not attacking their enemies, which is everybody but them, like not staying out of trouble, but deliberately taking action, silence is violence, as they say, and stuff like that. So you can't incorporate them, but not even incorporating them, it is kind of tough to be like a hero, because if everyone else is not going to play by the rules, then how do you stay, you know, how can a hero like not, this is something that's not even being dealt with as the heroes in the mainstream are going, you know, woke this and woke that or whatever.
Right. Yeah.
If they were telling straightforward stories, they would be telling stories about how heroes, like, it's hard to be a hero because, like, look at the growth of anti-heroes. Like,
yeah, it's easier to be an anti-hero than a hero
because you really have no rules.
Nope. Yep. Absolutely. And you know, the thing with the hero, see, now the hero has to fight. The thing with it is, and a lot of times anti-heroes become heroes because a hero not only has to fight the bad guy, right? So the hero has to fight the bad, but at the same time, the hero has to protect the innocents that the bad guy's also trying to harm.
Like Han Solo in Star Wars was an anti-hero, but by the time he was getting his medal, that would kind of have made him a transition from, like, he was never a villain. He may have been stealing stuff and been like a petty whatever, but he put himself at risk.
Yeah, and I think once he got that nice medal, though, and got that rebellion money, I don't think he had to be a smuggler ever again.
So that was his arc.
Yes.
And Billy, I've been learning so much about story recently. You know, with me, I haven't gotten into writing a lot of my own stuff. I'll come up with a concept for it, depending on the project, do some writing. But a lot of times, like, I'll find the same way I wouldn't try and draw something myself. I'll find someone who's a killer who I know is, you know, very experienced. And if I say, listen, I need to flesh this out, they'll write for me. I even had, I want to send this to you. I had Shooter develop a couple things for me. Jim Shooter.
Awesome.
Yeah. Some years back, not super recent, like the early 2000s. Because, like, you know, good concept, but I just don't want to mess up. But I've been researching it more and more and more. It's really fascinating to see in a story like the economy of use of characters. So if you've got like a theme, or you certainly want some kind of a point to your story, you want to give some kind of an example of, like, this is your statement of what's going on with your hero. But then aside from that, all the other characters that you bring in are really there in service of the story. Otherwise, they're just kind of hanging around and they're just sort of distractions.
Yes.
But so you can see it in some movies. There's a movie, it's a comedy drama Crazy Stupid Love with Steve Carell. It's so well crafted. I was like, I never would have noticed it, except that I've been kind of studying Save the Cat and like a bunch of these other books on writing, and YouTube videos from Film Courage talking about writing screenplays, which really relates a lot to what we're doing. Character development, world development. They really go deeply into a lot of these things. It's just it's there's so many rich tools to really just get in there and tell the kind of story that you want to tell, and make your world like a really well fleshed out world. Of course, you can get kind of lost in it because you can start going deeper and deeper and deeper into a story, and then maybe not come out because there's just so many levels and so many different ways to do what you want to do, and then and all that. So when you're writing a she book, you're really trying to. Are you economizing a lot and finding like, well, I don't want a scene unless it's really going to move the story forward?
Every panel has to move the story forward. Every one. Okay. That's actually when we were talking about the page, I'm like, I could split this one page into two, but I was kind of looking at me for some eye candy, and and I'm like, is that worth it? Maybe. I'm still looking at it and I'm like, oh, maybe.
Well, you have the thing is with our medium, when people are looking at comics, there are things that go on visually that become iconic that just stay with you. I remember the panel when Bullseye was flicking a card that slit Elektra's neck in Daredevil 181 that I bought off the stands, 30 years ago.
What?
Yeah. You're really good, babe, but me, I'm magic. And then, it's kind of he's slitting her throat. So we have an opportunity to, pace the story, but create an iconic visual that goes with an important part of the story. Mm-hmm. But you don't want to waste panels of just people talking.
Right.
It really is. It's a fascinating discipline. There's so much to learn about writing. When they talk about like, every scene, I was literally listening to something today and the author was explaining it well. He was saying like, well, every scene, 2 pages of screenplay is going to be like one scene. And every scene, you want to have conflict in the scene. And you also want to really avoid having your character be by themselves because they're not having conflict, like some type of conflict with another person.
Yes.
Right.
Tension, even maybe not now. I'm not.
Tension's conflict.
Yep. You need that. And it's got to progress. The story's got to progress. You're doing a crime scene. You got to go over you have to have some exposition. You have to explain it for the audience.
But there are ways of representing, especially in our medium, there's ways of representing something visually.
Yes.
Without dialogue or a word caption box.
Absolutely. And that's an important thing that what you can draw on the paper, you don't have to write. So you don't have to write, like in the old, and we kind of had to do this with Sergeant Rock because DC wanted us to harken back to the old Golden Age Sergeant Rocks, but you have them charging a trench, and he's like, and he's about to throw a grenade, and I drew, I had him just ready to throw a grenade. And they're like, well, can you throw that in there? Like this guy's writing it, and then he threw a grenade. So I'm saying, and then he's about to throw a grenade. You see the guy throwing a grenade. You don't have to do that. You could just either just have him say it or just have your artist draw it in. It's just, you don't have to do both because people get it. That's why you have a visual medium here. That's why you have that so they can see someone throwing a grenade. You don't have to say they rush the trench when you can just show when you draw them rushing the trench.
Rushing the trench.
Hello, Charlie's. So
we love Charlie's.
We love Charlie's. Don't we?
She's awesome.
She
Great
is awesome.
energy, beautiful project.
First time publisher. She works a full-time job, and then she goes and she just works on her book, and she's over $41,000 US dollars, I think, on the campaign
so far, and it keeps going up.
Unbelievable. Yeah, and it's all her. It's a testament to her passion, and
her knowledge of the subject because she's known the subject very well. The Charlie Chaplin book, Charlie Monday.
It's a graphic biography.
Mm-hmm.
which, of course, a little bit of dramatics and all, and making it interesting, but it's stunning.
Yeah, the art's great, and we
is.
keep seeing more and more pages from it. So it's perfection. A licensed biography. I love biography. Back in the day, a lot of biographies.
Yeah, you did that. I remember Giant Tartaglia. Jimmy Palmiotti did your Madonna comic.
Yeah, we had some great.
Didn't he do Babe Ruth for you?
He did Babe Ruth
and Williams, or
he did a couple more. He did art for Nolan Ryan and Joe DiMaggio and Sandy Koufax. John Tartaglia was so amazing. He was just like, John, what do you want to do? And like, I'd like to kind of do this. Like, fine. And that's the thing with talent too. And once you have a good relationship with talent, you do more with that talent. And you keep people who are really good should never want for work. You just give them more work. The whole objective in the publishing game is like you find talent that you have a good relationship with, so it's not a hassle to produce good work.
Right.
And what you do, like that's the main objective. You can make money later. Oh, yep. Charlie's, you're awesome. I'm glad that Charlie's is more comfortable. You understand people really do appreciate you. She contributes a lot, and the passion and the energy. That's something that everybody feeds off of each other's energy.
That's right.
People who are negative, they draw everybody down. People who are positive and enthusiastic, they bring everybody up. And you can do it with. I tell new guys this all the time. They can do it with retweets. They can do it by just mentioning somebody else's book. Not everybody has to spend money and back everybody's book. You can share people's video. Oh, if you haven't subscribed to the channel, please do subscribe to the channel. Click the bell for notifications. Check out Billy's channel too, Pop XP. You will get to see Niall as well, who's he's really a treat to the eyes.
He is. Yes, he's
a beautiful, beautiful man.
Beautiful man. Beautiful.
The occasional Blevins.
Yes.
Oh, it's Publishing Pete.
Publishing Pete. Hey.
Exposition, juxtaposition. Oh, beautiful. Exposition shouldn't describe what's going on in the art. It should offer insight into another plot point, a memory, inner monologue, etc. Yeah, I got to get Pete back on. I think I've had Pete on before.
That's perfect.
But I miss Pete. Pete's amazing. Pete's doing great
now.
He's always doing fantastic stuff and burning.
16 hours a day.
Yeah. Only so that he can figure out how to work 18 hours a day, shipping your alternative comics happily to you at a price that everyone can afford.
That's right. That's right.
I love Pete. Pete, I'm going to hit you up too. But one of the things they were talking about in this thing about story that I thought was really interesting, Beverly, was they had a scene with a married couple and they didn't want to tell you they were married, but they had a way of like showing you they were married. I think it was with a photograph or something like that of, the two of them married, and they just went directly into the scene, like a photograph, but obviously, shown in a background as things were opening up. But it just, again, of like, economizing, and using, all that you have in front of you to tell the story in an economical way so that you have room for more story. Because very easy, if you're writing decompressed, meaning that if you're just kind of like having, people are having a conversation back and forth, a character standing around contemplating things. I think a lot of what they get angry about with Tom King, who writes Batman, that it's just like ultra decompressed. What was it, the 90s when they started getting really into decompressed writing? Because I know it was like after Shooter left.
Yeah, it's very strange. I mean, you look at I loved when Shooter's run. I mean, everything he did, was. And he was all for the story. He was very story driven, and plus with that fantastic art and all those great characters that were created back then, or even the characters that weren't created by then, he made them superstars. You think of before the Shooter era, the X-Men were kind of,
yeah.
And then when he left, or look how he left them. It's incredible. But and then you did have a good crop of writers that came in. And then there was a lot, the 90s. The one thing you say about the 90s, though, is that they did allow, and I guess that was the mainstream, due to the success and the popularity of certain artists, due to the, primarily due to the Image guys, that they were allowed to have more free-balling comics. I think
that was after Shooter. You're talking about
after Shooter, yeah.
After they got Shooter out, that's when they were able to do whatever they wanted with the characters.
Right.
So they could Todd McFarlane could leverage his career off of Spider-Man. And basically, I'll give you Spider-Man like you've never seen him before.
Yeah.
So basically, we're selling the artist rather than selling, the character and the company brand, as the big item. So if you pull Todd McFarlane off of Spawn, off of Spider-Man, it's not going to sell the same.
No, but the cool thing about what Todd did is that he took it to the next level. As someone had posted that you have all these books right now with a lot of the writers today. The characters are sitting around on a 20-page comic. They're sitting around talking for 18 pages,
doing nothing.
And that never happened. But Shooter would never allow that to happen.
No, never. Because
the Stan era, it was always. I mean, these amazing stories all taking place in one issue. This Man, This Monster. What was it? Fantastic Four. Oh God, what number is it? It's from like June 1966. It's with Ben Grimm. That issue, that's one self-contained issue. Today, some of the writers that are writing for the mainstream, it would take them 6 issues to tell that story. And it wouldn't have half the impact or half the emotion or half the zeal that one self-contained book did. The This Man, This Monster story. Forgive me, it's late. I get up like 5 o'clock every morning, so if I'm stepping on myself.
No.
It's today. There's so much garbage out there, and that's why another reason why, aside from the woke stuff, which is absolutely true, you got a lot of guys, a lot of books, and the comics are just sitting around, standing around. They're boring. The characters are boring. They're trying to hype characters of who they are rather than what they can do or have done or what they are doing in the comic. And the same sadly goes for a lot of creators now. Is that you have people are being hired for who they are, not what they can do.
Billy, what do you think of the loss of the story, the overall storytelling aesthetic, and the promise of, say, the Marvel brand? When you bought a Marvel comic in the 80s, whether it was X-Men or Spider-Man or Kitty Pryde versus Wolverine, it all felt aesthetically like a Marvel comic. And they weren't all, rigid. They broke panel borders or whatever, occasionally with good reason to service the story and so on, but like within disciplines. But they had an editorial aesthetic, like there was something to the brand, and they also, right? I mean, it like was a publishing house, not Random House, like not random whatever, like Images, Image today, like Random Beyond Random or whatnot, but they lost that aesthetic when you have even when you have a Todd McFarlane book, which is a beautiful, beautiful book, but when you compare that to one of the other Marvel titles, and it's like it doesn't really fit. It's like it's Todd's plaything. It could have given Epic Comics, it could have been another Shooter creation that creator owned, separate imprint. Where I guess they also did Elektra Assassin in Epic, that Bill Sienkiewicz graphic novel, which was a beautiful graphic novel, which is like, that's just amazing that they at that time to go from newsprint comics to a hardcover, gorgeous color painted book by, an amazing artist like Sienkiewicz was.
Yeah.
And of course, creator owned stuff in Epic. But when it doesn't, like, Peter has more of a common aesthetic with Alterna, or at least the way I see the books presented, and I understand the books to be like, what you're going to get when you get an Alterna comic, even if the subject matter seems a little different than another one of the titles, all ages, or this is horror, but it's all like under the Alterna banner in a very coherent way. I don't think you get that from Marvel unless you're expecting it to be, weird SJW stuff.
Well, I think that's what you're seeing is that, and again, when you see the collective, the art style that say, but not in a good way, not like when not from the 60s, the 70s, the 80s, the 90s. You have there's rampant amateurism right now in filling comic book shelves coming from the big two. The art is awful, the writing is awful, and the fans are responding to it. And with their
have your occasional David Finch, right?
Great stuff. There's always there is great stuff, but a lot of that new stuff that's coming out. A lot of that new stuff, like the New Warriors. Remember last year they with that experiment with the New Warriors, this garbage. I mean, and the art was awful. And you could and the people, the audience they were trying to sell it to, say the SJWs, even they saw through it. And and they say, "Oh, we're gonna. Oh, this looks like the best thing." No, it's not. You know, it's not the best thing ever. You absolutely you know that it's not. And but they have to stick in. They have to stick by their side, and they get in their corner, and they're gonna go down that primrose path, of self-destruction. But as long as they say, "Oh no, she's beautiful. Look how beautiful she is," like beautiful because she fits a narrative that they want. And maybe that person may not necessarily be beautiful. Or good, or the art is not necessarily good, or this dude's art, but this guy's in the club, say. And look at this panel, and you're like,
if people want to see beautiful, many people have already backed this book, but let's take a quick look at She Haikyo, since we're talking about real beautiful. Billy is beautiful, but you can't buy a piece of Billy, but you can buy a small piece of Billy through buying his creation. You've hit stretch goal after stretch goal after stretch goal.
Yep.
Everybody loves She Haikyo. So this is the story of She Haikyo. Give us the quickie on this.
Yep. If basically it's if you want to run that little video, if you have the sound on,
video on.
Yeah, and that'll explain it. It's too long though. Hello, everyone. Billy Tucci here, and welcome to our very first Indiegogo exclusive, She Haikyo. After the terrifying events of She Return of the Warrior, Anna Ishikawa must now save her teenage daughter Hotaru, who's been kidnapped by the murderous Dr. Blevins. But to do so, she's forced to ally herself with her lifelong enemy, the manipulative Masahiro Arashi. But what if it's all a ruse and Blevins is actually protecting Hotaru and Anna has fallen into a trap set by the Yakuza Oyoban? Find out in She Haikyo, the 52-page full-color sequel to Return of the Warrior. This action-packed psychological samurai thriller reunites me and writer Stephen Peros with artist Gardenia Lima, colorist Brian Miller, letterer Mindy Lopkin, designer Niall Scala, and of course my wife Deborah on a journey that takes you deep into the haunted ruins of New York's Roosevelt Island as a mother must embrace death so that her daughter may live. And the they did it there.
That's it.
My original line art is complete and lettered. All we have to do is the last of the finishes, finalize the colors, and print it to ensure that you get your books on a timely manner. But we can only do this with your partnership. So please, join us for She Haikyo. We've got lots of special editions, challenge coins, prints, apparel, variant covers, including the very, very first She cosplay cover featuring the amazing Joni Brosis. We've also got sketch covers, commissions, and of course, original art. And we'll even make you a character in the comic book. Again, thank you for supporting Crusade Comics, She, and me for over 26 years. We couldn't have done it without you. And we can't do it without you again this time. So please pledge, please share, and remember, peace, love, She's strong.
That's a great video, Billy.
There you go. It's a little long. You
know what? It could be like Ethan's 30-second videos are tight. They're good. You could have a different video for a different venue or whatever, or a different audience or timing. But it was well cut, and it's interesting. And this is why people like you. I mean, you really do come off as that lovable, great Billy Tucci that everybody likes. Because if you don't back this campaign, then obviously you want to kill puppies. I mean, everybody should be backing this campaign. So this is Billy She Haikyo. It's very successful. It's going to be shipping, as you heard from Billy. We're targeting February. I will probably be there putting some books in those containers because Billy and I both live in Long Island, and I have been invited to join Billy in the packaging, which I would be honored to do, which is going to be a lot of fun. We'll have pictures from that day, I'm sure. Leg Kick says that your art is looking a bit like Mark.
I wish.
Well, there you go. Silvestri is classing himself up to be associated anywhere near the great Billy Tucci. Hello, Ninja is right.
Now that's a great honor. God, I think Silvestri's he's just a giant, both literally and figuratively.
Well, I have put Adam to some honest work, Eric. You mean honest work? I work all the time, but we got to give me honest work to do. In the description is a link to Haikyo on Indiegogo, but as you've heard, Haikyo is also on Kickstarter, and there's a special cover edition if you guys want to check that out. Would you be able to ship your Kickstarter along with your Indiegogo? I think that's asking a little bit too much.
No, they all ship together.
They all ship together. So if you back it on Kickstarter, but you already backed it on Indiegogo, you're going to ship that in one box? No.
Yes.
You are?
Yep. And everyone benefits from all the stretch goals unlocked by each other.
You're not counting on me to help sort that out, are you?
Oh, well, you don't. No. Debbie does it all. She just says, "Here, put this in the box."
She's amazing. Debbie is amazing.
She does it all.
I feel like we take her for granted sometimes.
Yeah,
I think we need to appreciate her more.
I think so.
Just put in a good word in case Debbie's watching. You know, a sister or something like that. Froad79 says, "I'll back she too if Adam packs my book and adds a note. Quality control by Adam Post."
Look at that, Fraud. Right. If it's Fraud or 79 of Fraud, now that's Mr. Met right here. Now I'm a Yankee fan, and JC Vaughn had mentioned this, who's the editor of Haikyo. But Mr. Met has to be the most evil or the most disturbing looking team mascot in history. Can you imagine coming after you with that bat? Look at him. He's about to kill you. Look at that.
It's scary, but you know, he can be misunderstood. That would be
I don't hate the Mets. I'm sure Frode hates the Yankees, but
to answer your question, Frode, if you email Billy about that and you know, we will make that happen. I will guarantee that will happen.
Yeah, we'll definitely do that. We'll put a little
quality control by Adam Post.
Maybe you could sign the Gemini mailer.
I can sign the Gemini mailer. I will not ruin the comic with my signature, but I will sign the Gemini mailer, or I will sign my note as well.
Yes, we're gonna. Oh yeah, I think
I'm just going for the system.
I think we are gonna buy the. We're gonna add the buy Debbie Tucci a drink.
Oh, everyone had a good point. Yeah,
she needed it. That's right. She really needed it.
And she did those drinks that night. I remember.
Oh yeah, she would drink. She got bombed, and then
she had that nice lady from San Diego as well on that stream.
What's that?
She seemed pretty cool. She was a great guest. I don't know her name. Some lady out in California that was a friend of yours, I think, was on that night on drinking on your stream. I don't know. She has a boyfriend who has a ton of kids or something like that.
Oh, jeez. You know, it's so.
Don't ask. It's a lot of women. I know, Billy. It's hard to keep them straight.
So many women.
Didn't the Mets lose their coach?
Yeah, one of their coaches. Yeah, he did something.
It's a lot of grief. He didn't do nothing. Yeah.
Oh, really? He didn't do. I wonder what he did because they fired him for some tweets or something. So I'm very curious about what he did.
I know. You want to always see what they say.
Yep, you do, don't you?
You have to. You have to.
All
right, guys, we're going to let Billy get some rest. He's going to be up at 5 o'clock in the morning, for God's sake. Billy, I could talk to you for like 6 more hours.
Yes.
You know, it's a pleasure. A lot of cool subjects. I love talking about writing with you. Love talking about she with you. This is a book that years ago I was not wise enough to publish.
That's right. Yeah, you were doing
goes to show.
You were doing Madonna comics and stuff.
I did everything wrong. But in life, you know, you do a couple things right, you do the rest wrong. It all works out in the end.
Absolutely.
But guys, definitely take a look at Haikyo. Follow Billy on Twitter as well. It's like at Billy Tucci on Twitter. His YouTube channel. You have a YouTube channel of your own. That's Billy.
Oh yeah, I have Billy Tucci. I've been mostly doing stuff on Pop XP, you know, but I do have the Billy Tucci. It's just Billy Tucci on YouTube.
Yeah, guys,
like 1,800 subscribers or something.
And you know, you add a couple of subs on there. You sub my channel. You sub Billy channel. Doesn't cost anything. Makes us happy. You know, puts a little smile on our face. Another extra sub or two.
Yeah, it does, doesn't it? It really does.
It's nice. It's nice. You know, I tell people too, like when you retweet, when you share this campaign on Twitter, like if it's just like you get one extra share, you get a notification, oh, somebody liked your tweet, they shared your tweet to help you promote the campaign. It gives you a little bit of extra gas in the tank. So it really is an impact. We really do appreciate when you do that for us.
Absolutely.
And for all the other creators that are working there really hard, just trying to get things done.
Yep.
Mighty Joe says, say goodnight, April. I let people in on a secret last night because I'm getting close with the audience. You know, I'm doing these every night at 9 o'clock.
Yeah, what's your secret? Who's April?
Well, I told them last night, and this is absolutely true, that every 5 or 10 years or so, my parents told me, if you were a girl, we were going to name you April. Now, this came up completely unnaturally in conversation. It's a complete non sequitur. I forgot who I was talking to, but it was completely inappropriate. But I just brought it up anyway because it just happened to occur to me. So I was wondering out loud, like, I was supposed to call my dad today and ask him about that. Like, did they want a girl? Like, why does this keep coming up? Did your parents ever say that to you? Like, Billy, if we were going to name you Barbara if you were a girl?
No.
Maybe that's just my father fucking with me, excuse the language, but just messing around. Like, because I'm that type of person also would be like, well, I'll just carry a joke for 30 or 40 years and see if I have any impact on you. Yeah, we'd love to meet you guys at a con. Eventually, Comicsgate's going to have its own con, and we're going to make sure Billy's there whether he wants to be or not. I'm going to go.
I spoke to the convention manager today.
Oh, okay. So that's got like a real scheduled thing.
Yeah, it's just how things are.
Very.
It'll happen.
All right, guys. We're going to let you go. Have a great night, everybody. I'll see you again tomorrow with another amazing, fantastic, delicious guest. Back Haikyo. Sub to the channels. Share on social media. It is highly, highly appreciated. You guys have a great night. We will see you again soon.
Thank you, guys. Good night. Thanks,
right.
Adam.
If I don't see you, as you know, I will miss you.